So this is what we were dealing with before. This is what the snow looked like. For some reason, it was like really, really bad. I think we found it was tied to motion blur. But there were a handful of these features that just didn't work. They just looked horrible. And then even then, you'll see like the frames are dipping all over the place. It's just really inconsistent. And yeah, so 65, climbing up that wall, back into the high 70s. And it just doesn't look bad or it just looks really bad. For some reason, it just can't manage itself. And I go into the settings, I'm tweaking those, trying to figure out what it is. And we come back. And then the snow looks better when we turn that off, but it's still, the performance is really, really off. And you can see the frames are dipping between like 30 and 60. It's all over the place. It's just not good. This is not good. So my question is whether or not they ever fixed it. And we're going to find out. Okay, Spectre of the Eclipse, a new light-devouring kimono, the Tsukuyomi, has appeared at the Fusagi Fort. If you are to defeat this tyrannical territory seeker, you must bring all your hunting skills and knowledge to bear against it. Okay, news, quests and side content. Okay, Alpha, Venom Glider, prepare to lock horns with Alpha Kimono. Okay. Okay, buying this upgrade gives you access. Are they already trying to sell me stuff? Sure are. Okay, well. And now the game's locked up? Come on, dude. No way. So we're not off to a great start. If you try to buy the thing, the game will soft lock. Okay, well, I guess Alt F4 then, right? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to bear the brunt of not having my save data preserved from the main menu. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, not a great start. It's okay, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. Continue, at least now we're... Okay, that was quick. Oh wait, hold on. Performance stats. Oh god, no. The stuttering is still here. Oh no! Oh god, what is that? Yeah, you ain't got nothing, chump. Okay, that was pretty rough. that was rough. I want to be fair. Maybe it's just shaders compiling and it's gonna be compiled after this. Let's also double check settings. 4K full screen, 144 high. High. Before anybody's like, you should lower the settings. Just to be clear, I'm running this on a 4090. If this thing struggles with a 4090 to run decently on PC, we know we have bigger issues, okay? But I think it's fair to test it at that level. Oh, there's a stutter. Oh, God. It's such a bummer, dude, because this doesn't seem that bad. Like, in terms of content, I mean. Classic EA polish. Yeah, I just don't know how after, what has it been, 4 or 5 months? They still have not done, like, much of anything. Okay, let's see if they at least fixed the motion blur thing, because that was the most horrendous element to this. It seems like that's better. Okay, so they fixed the motion blur thing. It looks like the snow is still snow. I would still say it's not a great look, but it's not terrible. I mean, I think it's way better than it was. So they did that. I'll give them that. Then there's the Beastie Boy. Now we're at 90. Oh, also, I should test that. We were at 60 frames climbing up this wall before. Let's see if it does run better. Okay. We're up closer. We're in the 100 range, 90 frames. Okay. It's not bad. This cutscene looks way better than I remember it looking. The thing is, like, in some types of games, stutters aren't that big of a deal. But in a game that's about precise timing of attacks and dodges, stutters are a really big deal. It matters. Like in a cutscene like this, if it drops from 30 down to 29, who cares? Whatever. I mean, I prefer it stay steady if it's all the way down at 30, but still, I can forgive it. However, in a game like this, in gameplay against bosses, you can't do it. You can't do that. It's gotta run way better than that. Yeah, and to be clear, this is 4 to 5 months. 4 to 5 months after launch. It's just clearly not been a priority for them. Like, if we look at the Steam reviews, we'll see what the next chapter's like, but game was released on February 16th with minor technical issues I could ignore. As the days went on and more patches were put in place, the performance steadily went into decline. On June 20th, today, we had a new patch, and currently the game will not get past the loading screen. I do not recommend this game and advise players opt out of seeing this game on the store page. Crashed 5 times in 30 minutes. Do not buy unless they fix it. The game is bad, but it has some serious issues. Or game isn't bad, but it has some serious issues like heavy stuttering, very poor optimization, especially the Steam version. Yeah, it seems as though it's all shader compilation stuff. But with shader compilation, the thing is, it should be better on a subsequent run. Like, once you've acquired those shaders and they've compiled, it shouldn't stutter anymore. So what I think we should try doing is probably, honestly, going back and seeing if that same section stutters at all. Because that will tell us if it is, in fact, shader compilation. So let's go back. Let's try just new game. We'll see if it does it again. Because now that those shaders have compiled, in theory, if that's what it is, it shouldn't stutter anymore. If game is patched, very likely they get invalidated the cache. Well, now, my understanding is the only way that you invalidate the cached shaders is with usually an update to the game or swapping drivers. And okay, so here we go. So like this section we didn't go through before, so this might still stutter. Yeah, it is. However, once we get to that snowy bit, it shouldn't stutter anymore. And at that point, like, this is the same problem that Callisto Protocol had. You remember Callisto Protocol stuttered like crazy, and it only fixed once they patched it with something that basically forced it to pre-compile shaders. And I don't know anything about game development in detail with coding and stuff, so I don't know how easy it is to add something like that. But it seems like if your game is widely known to have terrible stuttering because of shader compilation issues, you should just find a way to get the shaders compiled before gameplay starts. Like, that doesn't seem that scandalous to me. Like, I'd say this is playable. It's not great, but I'd say this is playable. It's against the bosses where it just becomes really frustrating. And that's probably another thing to mention is stuttering like this is not, like, it's not game breaking in a lot of ways. Like, you could still play the game. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it is super frustrating when you're taking on bosses. I honestly prefer the combat and aesthetic of Wild Hearts over Monster Hunter, but Monster Hunter has so much content, it's kind of hard to choose between Wild Hearts over it. Taking that out of the equation, though, I like Wild Hearts more. I think that the, like, construction aspect and the ability to kind of run and gun different quickly assembled traps and things is really, really cool. That hair though. So I think that that's a really unique aspect that this game has. But it's frustrating that they just apparently have not given a crap about patching this. Like, it's just not a priority. But okay, so from here, we've already played this, so this all should have pre-cached shaders. This should be good. And we shouldn't see any stutters if it is shaders. There's a little one. That was small enough that it might have been like him stepping in the water or something like that that he didn't do last time. Yeah, it's definitely shaders. It had stuttered way more than this by this point last run. Okay, well that's what it is. It's just damn frustrating. They haven't fixed that like, I don't know what I'm talking about, and we just figured out what the problem is. And honestly, once it's patched, once it runs well, I'd have no problem going through it on PC, but they've just totally seemingly abandoned the PC port. They did fix, to be fair, they did fix the motion blur thing. That is something they fixed. I'll give them that. This doesn't look good at all. I mean, I agree. It's not like a graphically super impressive game. Like, look at the close up on the like body of the beast, the skin of his lips and stuff. See? It's not great, but like these games are not necessarily about having the highest fidelity or the best subsurface scattering or anything. It's about the gameplay, which is why the only real problem is with the frames, because that affects all of this. Maybe there's something more going on, because it shouldn't be stuttering in cutscenes. Because the cutscene should be the same every time. And so any shaders it would have used during the cutscene should have been used last time. So I don't know why it would still be stuttering. Maybe it's data streaming stuff because it's trying to load in the big beastie boy. I don't know. Either way, there's a huge problem with frame pacing and timings and like there's just a lot going on here. Boom, boom, boom. Rage claw claw. Rage tail claw. Am I dyslexic that I just read that as rage claw claw instead of rage tail claw? Oh, there's a stutter. So after the fight, it seems to me they fixed some stuff. Like the biggest thing was that motion blur. That motion blur thing was terrible. Oh, now it's stuttering a lot for some reason right here. That's odd. However, it's, yeah, see, why is it stuttering now after the boss fight? How does that make any sense? Yeah, like what? Okay, whatever. We're going to a new place, I guess. Did we come up this way? Is this where we came from? I have no idea. Whatever is happening. However, it's still pretty stuttery, pretty aggressively, but I think it's workable. But to be fair, and just to be transparent with everybody, this is running on a 4090 and it's getting like 70 frames, dropping down into the 50s at times, sometimes down into the 20s at a couple of bad spots. It's all over the place. And you can see the CPU utilization is around 50%. GPU is at 90-ish. So there's some bottleneck somewhere in the system. But even still, it's clearly not well optimized. And so your mileage will certainly vary. But the nice thing is if you have EA Play through Steam, which is the program where you can pay like $5, I think it's $5 a month, maybe it's 10, but I think it's 5. And you get a 10-hour demo to try this yourself if you want to see if it's worth it for you. And I think that's a great option, which is what I'm doing here. I didn't buy it cash or anything. Because previously I tried it and it was so bad, I immediately returned it. However, this, I think I could see myself probably playing it. at that point. But it's still, as far as I'm concerned, it's still unacceptable that after 4 to 5 months, you've not fixed the shader compilation issues. That's baffling to me. It's running on a 4090 from Apex Gaming PCs. Exactly. Sure is. Sure is, baby. Does it stutter when loading in a new area? No. So what it seems to be, we tested this by going in and actually trying the level again after we had completed it once, because shader compilation, once it's done, it shouldn't recompile the shaders once they've been compiled already. So that's why, like Callisto Protocol, if you went through the opening 30 minutes, super stuttery. You went through it again a second time without changing anything on your computer, reinstalling drivers or anything, and it was smooth and it worked great. It's because it had compiled the shaders it needed to calculate how things look on screen. This game, similarly, if you go through it again right after playing through it once, it doesn't stutter as bad, but it still stutters and it drops frames in the cutscenes and stuff like that, which to me suggests there's a lot more going on under the hood that is complicating this. But either way, it doesn't change the fact, even if it is a complicated issue, we're 4 to 5 months after launch and they still have not fixed it. And that to me says, okay, I don't think they're going to just show up and fix it tomorrow, because they probably have looked at it and it's just not worth their time. They're like, people are playing on console. Everybody kind of gave up on PC because of the bad launch. So we're just not going to bother fixing it. It's just not worth the time. And that sucks. It sucks because it means that this is probably the best the game's ever going to get on PC without like modders fixing it or something. And that just blows. That just blows.